Summer days on our 42 acres in central Victoria are long. We get up early to beat the heat. The roosters start crowing at 5 a.m, a waking call that the sun is peeking over the eastern horizon. By the time I sort the indoor animals with food and do my own morning rituals, it's 6 a.m. before I'm out here assessing my plans for the morning. I've been out here for 3 days now, 1 day break because we had a family function, but I've been cleaning up my vegetable garden. It's been so enjoyable to have these long days outside and to not have to do anything else other than be here in the garden. I really thoroughly enjoy this time between Christmas and New Year's. Last week, of course, I had all of the intentions of getting out here into the garden on Tuesday and Wednesday before Christmas Day, but that never eventuated. We hosted, albeit a very small Christmas, but there's just so much to do when you're hosting, and then there's also so much to do on the farm as well. One thing I love about summertime is being able to get up really early. It's warm outside, it's not too cold to be out here at this time of the morning, and I can check on all the animals and then get straight into my favourite place in the whole world. This garden has been my saviour this year, as it has been many years since we've been here. It's a place where I can come and unwind and really ground myself. There is really nothing like a garden to ground yourself. I've only just spotted this morning, but I have my first tomatoes growing on this tomato plant here. I believe they are the yellow currant cherry tomatoes growing on this vine here. How exciting. This year has been quite different from past years. The weather has been quite different, and my window of opportunity to plant out my summer garden had passed before the weather really got warm enough. So I have lower expectations of my garden, but I'm sure in the end I will be quite surprised by what thrives in my garden and how much produce I actually get to harvest. If nothing else, I have a gorgeous amount of flowers this year. They have been growing so beautifully. I had someone comment in a past video that spring is not the time to plant fennel. Well, it really depends on your climate and your situation and where you are, but fennel is something that can be planted in spring in most areas, and those fennel plants that I planted, well, they are bulbing up really nicely, and I'm going to be harvesting them probably next week. Some of them anyway. They may not be as big as I've been able to grow fennel bulbs in the past, but they have grown quite well and they're really happy in my garden at this time of the year. So behind me is a whole new area to plant out here. I do have a lot of parsleys coming up in this garden here. The soil needs some work here, so I'm hoping to get some compost and manure to put throughout this bed. But as you can see in the middle here, I have my chamomile. So my big chamomile bush, I've just harvested the first little amount of chamomile flowers, and there'll be heaps more to harvest over the next month. And with what to sow here this close to January, well, I think I will just keep doing my succession sowing of carrots and lettuces. I could also put some beans and corn in because they grow quite rapidly, particularly the bush beans. And I would grow bush beans in this sort of row here because I don't have anything for the climbing beans to climb on. I wish I had gotten more beans in the ground earlier on, but as I said, life just got away. But I can put some in now and hope for the best and see what happens. It is worth throwing a little bit of seed in the garden. Seed doesn't cost as much as plants do, so throwing a bit of seed in the garden and seeing what happens is worth a try. But I have had some difficulties with my carrots, so let's go over to my third carrot patch and I will show you why. So here's one of my carrot patches. So on the right hand side, I have channels for my carrots to grow, and the seed just hasn't come up in some areas. And I think this is because of it drying out too quickly. You really have to keep the moisture up to the carrot seeds. And as you can see, I have put some sugarcane mulch on top of these seeds that I have scattered through here, but it's quite a thin germination rate that I have gotten from this lot. Now that I look at it, however, there are a few more coming up, so I might be able to just scatter a little bit more seed in this area and I might succeed at getting some more carrots growing. I've also possibly got some birds or something digging up. It could also be my dogs just kicking up the dirt a bit when they're running through the garden. And I've got tomatoes coming up everywhere as usual. Another tomato. And I also had a lot of grass coming up, this grass here, coming up in my garden in this area as well. I actually unearthed a lot of grass seed up in this area in particular. And oh, look, you can see there's more coming through. So when I made the channels for the carrot seed, all these grass seeds came up as well. And in this area in particular, I don't see as many carrots growing, and it's probably because I've come along and been picking the grass out and may have picked out a few of the carrot seedlings as well. I've had a bit of the same with the beetroot row on the left of this garden bed, but down here there's a bit more success with the germination rate. So I think the main reason these haven't germinated well is because the soil has dried out. And if it dries out when germination is occurring, then the germination will fail. So what can I do about this? Well, there are different methods I use to keep the moisture in. Some people put planks of wood over the top. I have tried this and I've had moments of succeeding with using planks, but I've also had moments where all of the slaters and earwigs have gone underneath the planks and eaten the little seeds that are germinating. I've also put frost cloth or a cloth over the top to keep the moisture in, and that's worked quite well, but the same thing happens. Some insects get underneath and I lose some of my seedlings to them. Because there are some seedlings already coming up, my inclination is to get a few short planks and just do some sowing in some sections of these rows and just putting some planks over and seeing what happens. I've been meaning to cut this for quite a few days now, actually probably over a week now, and yeah, all this seed has been dropping, so I'm expecting all of these kales to be popping up in this area here and probably in the pathway. So I'm going to collect a little bit of this seed, but I'm also going to let it drop in one area in particular. And then I will hopefully have lots of kale self-seeding in that area. When I'm planting carrot seeds, I normally put a thin layer of seed raising mix over the top of where I sow my seeds, just because it's very finer and gentler and lets the sunlight in more than the soil I've got here, which is a mixture of clay and manure and compost. It's a bit heavier. But today I'm going to actually put it underneath as well. I'm going to sprinkle some water down first. Then I'll grab my seed. I've got my purple dragon seeds here. There's not much left of this big market garden packet from Diggers. Then I'll just sprinkle a little bit over, just to cover the seed. So carrot seed doesn't need covering very much. And because I'm putting a plank over the top, I'm not going to put any mulch on top just yet. Once it has started to germinate though, I will take the planks off and I will put some sugarcane mulch on top instead. Now I've got some planks here that were left over from our floorboards in our house. So I'm going to pop those over the top. Hey, sweetness. Already found a slater. And then I'll just give it another water just to keep that moisture in. Now for this area down here where there is a lot of grass seed coming up, I'm going to scrape away the mulch, and then I'm just going to pull out as much of the grass as I can. And I'm hoping that there's not too much seed left in this soil and that all of it has germinated. Now I'm not going to dig as much of a channel because I don't want to disturb any more seed that might be in this area here. But what I am going to do is I'm going to pop some seed raising soil on top. Give it a little bit of watering. I'm going to scatter the rest of this seed as thinly as I can in this section. There's a little bit over the top. Then I've got my piece of floorboard here. You can see that there's a little bit of a groove in this part here. I'm going to place down the side that doesn't have the groove. This is actually from our architraves in our house. So I'm using floorboards, leftover floorboards and architraves. Now I don't have short ones to fill in this space here, so I'm just going to put a small amount of mulch in this section. And I'm also going to get some more sugarcane mulch to put in this part here. Once things have germinated, you can see where they are, and then you can put more mulch around them to keep that moisture in as well. All right, I'm going to do the same on this side with the beetroot seeds. So I've got some areas where none have come up at all. So I'm going to re-sow those areas, and I'll probably put some planks down on top just to keep that moisture in. I transplanted some sunflowers quite a few days ago, and what I should have done when I put them in here was take off a lot of the leaves. I did take off quite a few from the base of these sunflowers, but as you can see here, a lot of them have wilted and then they have started to dry off. So I'm just going to prune off these leaves now, and these sunflowers should do quite well. They probably won't grow as big as, you know, the mammoth sunflowers usually grow though. There we go. That's much better. The sun is starting to come up now quite high, and it's got quite a bite to it. It's going to be around 33 degrees today. It was supposed to be 33 yesterday. It got to about almost 35, I think. So I just noticed that one of my potatoes has died off. So when a potato dies off, it's ready to harvest. And this one here came up all by itself. If you were here back when I was planting my potatoes in this area, there was one plant that was already almost flowering. So it had been in the ground for quite some time. So let's have a little dig around and see what we find here. I'm not expecting a huge amount from this plant, but I think I'm going to be quite surprised. I wish I had my fork. I can't find it. Someone else has been using it. And here we go so far. 2 really nice size potatoes. Having a little dig around, but I think that is it. So this one plant that came up from a seed that got left in the ground last year has produced 2 beautiful sized potatoes. Oh, and I've just unearthed a potato from one of the other plants. It is still attached though, so I'm just going to bury it in the ground again. Well, it is heating up and I need to get as much work as I can get done out here before it really gets too hot to be outside. I'm going to pop inside though and make my breakfast, and then I'm going to eat it out here in the garden. I'm trying to slow down as much as I can by sitting in the garden and eating my food between all of the work that I'm getting done out here. Of course, the work is enjoyable work. It's not work that I don't want to do. So it is enjoyable in itself, and it does slow me down and ground me, but it is nice just to sit back and observe and not be focused on the task at hand. I hope you are all well and that you're enjoying this in-between part of the season where we forget which day it is and we really enjoy resting and just enjoying the moments. Let me know what you've been up to in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, and if you feel like it too, to hype my video and to share it as well. Thank you all so much for your support. I look forward to seeing you again very soon.